Why, hello. This is Patrick in the store, standing on the sales floor of Challengers after we closed on a Saturday, walking around, fixing the shelves, seeing all of the books that have been misplaced, misfiled, and even now I'm trying to put two copies of Private Eye back on the shelf, one-handed, and I did. Look at that. Because someone pulled out both copies and just left them on a higher shelf. Fine, that's part of the gig. Not one of my favorite parts of the gig is refiling things, but happens. But today there were two specific stories, two occurrences that make me kind of hate being here. And morale is not at the best right now. We try to keep that in check at the store, definitely not on this podcast. But while we are in the store, hopefully you can't tell, but phone rings today. I answer. Good afternoon, this is Challengers. Hi, do you Pokemon cards? Yeah, we do. We've got boosters of Scarlet Violet Paradox Rift. We've got 3 different ETBs, and we've got a couple of boxes of Palladian Fates fancy foil box sets. Oh, so you don't have anything? No, we have Paradox Rift boosters, ETBs for Palladia Evolved, for Crown Zenith, and for the brand new Scarlet Violet Palladian Fates, as well as the 2 Palladian Fates, Skeldridge X and Aquavale X boxes. And they said, yeah, okay. All right, so clearly we don't have what you want, but saying we don't have anything, a little insulting. But that wasn't a big deal. I wouldn't even have mentioned that in a general wrap-up of things if it wasn't for this next occurrence. We had a lot of people in today that were people doing things that I feel are things they need to ask about before they actually do, like bringing dogs in. Yeah, we welcome dogs. It'd be nice if we've never seen you before you ask, before you bring in your dog, your child's vehicle. We don't let people bring bikes in. We have a bike rack out front. We have 2 bike racks out front. And for everyone that says, oh, I don't have a bike lock, great, here's a bike lock. You give me an ID, I give you this bike lock, you get your ID back when I get the bike lock back. I don't want your bike in the store. I don't want your tires on the floor. It's kind of the same when it's scooters or little kids' bikes or tricycles. Yeah, I know that the kid can't walk this whole walk that you're doing and they need something to ride on. Fine, I get it. But you should at least ask if it's okay to bring in your tricycle. I don't ever see, and I always use grocery stores as my example, but I don't see dogs walking up and down the aisles of grocery stores. I don't see tricycles or scooters or children's bicycles or big wheels. I don't see those things in grocery stores. I wonder why that's so different. Anyway, there was a couple in today looking for gifts for little kids' birthdays and showers. Hey, you know what? We got a whole room full of great stuff. So we escort them into Sidekicks. And I was with Samantha today, and Samantha did a great job at telling the families, the different families that we're in, and the young kids, highlighting certain books and telling them what's cool. It's a job skill that I also possess, but don't use with children because things from a child's point of view aren't nearly as cool when I point them out as when somebody like Samantha points them out. Somebody much younger, someone who is closer to their age, and honestly closer to their size. The children are not threatened by Samantha. They don't find her imposing. So it's better I think, to have Sam recommend books to younger kids when she's working. If it's just me, happy to do it. Anyway, this family was looking for, not family, just adults, 2 adults, presumably a married couple, presumably a man and a woman. They come across the Downtown Books DC Library books, the hardstock cardboard books, the cardboard pages, the thick books, the ones that are about diversity and opposites and supervillains or colors and capes and sizes and things like that. We have a little teeny box set with a bunch of them and then a bunch of loose ones. And they love them. And they want to get more than what we have. So they want to buy our box set, and then they have a stack of the other ones, and they want to order multiple copies of the box set for future events. How soon can we get them? I look them up to see if they're still in stock and how long it will take to get them. And they're very excited. Do we do gift wrapping? No, we don't. But we've got some gift bags in the back. Sam shows them the gift bags. They like the gift bags. They pick out a couple of those to buy. And as we're ringing them up, and after the order has already been placed for their multiple copies of the box set of the library, they hold up their phone on Amazon showing that same Downtown Books DC Library superhero box set and showing that it is half the price of what we're selling it for. And they say, do you price match? No, we don't. So what do? They put almost everything back. They cancel their order. They're getting it from Amazon. And I just wanted to say, yeah, I hope Amazon can answer all your questions and have the good customer service you got today. I hope Amazon can introduce you to a world of books that you didn't even know existed. I hope Amazon helps you with all of your shopping needs by exposing you to things that you want to get regularly for more children in your life. I hope they do all that for you. I didn't say that. I also wanted to immediately tell them to leave. I didn't do that either. But what are we even here for, man? And I know it's just the way things are today. And of course they deserve to get it somewhere else. But go there first. Don't waste my time, waste my store's time, and use my expertise against me. Do not take the knowledge you've gained from us and use it somewhere else. And I'll be honest, if I'm buying something online, I too will look at other options to find a better value somewhere, maybe even a better product. I don't do it when I'm in a store. I don't do it as a transaction has been rung up and an additional order has been placed. I do my due diligence ahead of time. So that's real exciting. But now I want to talk about attrition in sales in books, using what we have on the shelf as examples. Now, it's no secret that if you have a, let's say, 4-issue miniseries from, let's say, Marvel Comics, whatever you order for number 1, by number 4, you're ordering significantly less. And I'm going to use the examples directly in front of me, like Predator versus Wolverine. On the shelf, we have 2 copies of number 3 on the shelf, 3 copies of number 4 on the shelf. That means we sold out of number 1 and a second printing, and we actually sold out of number 2. But we still cut our numbers for 3 and 4, and we still have more of 4 than any other issue because people just stopped buying a book 2 issues in. How about the new Punisher miniseries? We have 3 copies of number 1, 2 of number 2, 1 of number 3. No 4s. That's a book we got right. By issue 4, we got it good. Great. Good for us. Rumpus Room, which is a book we really liked, we have on the shelf 2 copies of number 2. Oh, hold on. That's just the A cover. 10 copies of number 2, 2 of number 3, 7 of number 4, and 4 of number 5. And again, these orders went down as we placed them, yet we still have so many deep into the run. Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, The Glass House. We have 1 number 1, 3 number 4s, 1 number 5, 1 number 6. Interesting, we still have a 1. That's interesting. I was going to say, that's kind of cool. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is wrong. That is Thessaly. That is the Thessaly special. It was hidden with the Nightmare Countries. Aha, we don't have a 1. We only have 3 4s, a 5, and a 6. That changes everything. All right, so I'm going to rack them differently as well, so Thessaly stands out. Yeah, I didn't think we had a number 1. Interesting. Let's look at Ribbon Queen. Ribbon Queen, which ended this week, so it doesn't quite count, but we have 4 of number 5, 3 of number 6, 2 of number 7, and then 2 of number 8. But it's still new this week, so it doesn't quite count. So that's a book that sold really strong for us for the first half of its run, but tapered off in the back half. I don't get why books taper off. It's always a weird thing to me how sales just go down and down on a book. Like, I get the sales dropping between 1 and 2 if you've read it and didn't like it and didn't want to keep going. But if you've gotten the first 4 of an 8-issue book, why don't you get the rest? Here's one, Midnight Show, the really great Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt horror series from Dark Horse. We still have 2 number 1s and 3 number 4s. So we got 2 and 3 right, but people just bailed. I guarantee you we ordered less of 4 than any other issue of the book, yet we still have 3 copies of it on the shelf. Nothing of 2 or 3, though. Who didn't come back for 4? It's a 4-issue series. Who didn't come back for the last one? I don't get it. Anyway, I could do this all day by looking at the shelves, but I rarely talk specific issue quantities when we record because we don't record in the store. So I thought that was a fun little look at what weird things are actually on the shelf here at Challengers. And hey, if you're listening to this, thanks for listening to it and not immediately going to Amazon to see what else is available. It was a joke for the rest of the day. A kid came into, they picked out a little golden book, and as they went by, I whispered to Sam, "Hey kid, the book is cheaper on Amazon." My goodness. Comic book retail, what a blast.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. Eisner approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the Challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the Challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with
Patrick Brower.
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 And
W. Dal Bush.
W. Dal Bush.
Dal Bush.
Del Bush.
Dal.
Del.
W. Dal Bush.
I cannot get over how excited we both are to be here and to be doing this.
We had to pause the recording at first because we were both too excited to even say words.
Too excited. It was just
Nonverbal.
like guttural sounds coming from me.
Yep.
Also tears streaming down my face of just the unbridled joy.
Yep.
And
Excitement tears. That's a thing, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
it is.
Sure.
Those are the ones that squirt out of your eye.
Uh-huh.
Like they don't run down. They
like a squirt gun.
Yeah, like a Joker flower. Yeah. Do you think part of it, or I don't know, maybe all of it, is all of the X announcements today?
Hey, let's talk about the X-Men.
So it's interesting to start with that because we've already posted a bunch of it on our social media channels.
Have we really?
And it's brand new for us, but by the time this goes up on Monday, people will be bored of hearing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be thoroughly digested by fans before then.
And before we even start,
Yeah.
I will tell you that the reaction from people I've interacted with about this has all been positive.
Cool. Let's go over some of the details before we start talking about the various...
All been positive.
Before we talk about how we're viewing
until
it as fans and
right
how
now.
we're viewing it as retailers, which are kind of two different things.
Don't know that it is.
To recap people on what's
So
going on
excited.
with the X-Men franchise, this year, for the first time ever, Marvel editor Tom Brevoort is going to be heading up the X office. It's the one part of the Marvel universe he's kind of never really interacted with. And he was asked by Dan Buckley to take over the X books coming out of the Krakoa era. So the Krakoa team still got to end their story, and they're in the midst of it as we speak. But because of the way solicitations work, the announcements are already going out about books that Marvel will be releasing in July, August, and September.
And
Because
also,
some of this is also in the Free Comic Day comic that will probably be hitting stores in a few weeks. So if they don't announce it now, it's going to be on Bleeding Cool, and that's it.
it was announced in the hippest, most modern way possible.
South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, a music and I guess now media festival. A couple people had mentioned to me that they thought it was surprising that Marvel would announce it at South by Southwest instead of, say, Emerald City Comic Con that happened last weekend, or maybe just another comic convention in general. To which I said, it doesn't really matter because very few people will be live for this event. This isn't Hall H at San Diego where thousands of people are going to be there. If they announced it at Emerald City, great, you're doing it to a crowd of like 500 people. Everyone's going to find out about it online anyway. It doesn't matter if you announced it in Tom Brevoort's kitchen.
So
Doesn't
what you're saying
matter.
is they could have announced it at Challengers like we had asked them to do.
Yes. and we put in a submission for. I believe our offer was 2 Cadbury cream eggs. It would have been more, but they come in a 4-pack, and I still want to. So,
I mean,
I feel like that was a good offer.
Unbeknownst to you, I volunteered to take CB Sobolski out to Club Lago.
Wow. Still
But-
said no, huh?
Yeah. It's not elite enough, I guess.
It's not all elite. So anyway,
There's no Kazuchika Okada. I'm sorry. The Rainmaker.
his passport says
Kazuchika Okada.
the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Somehow it has an emphasis in it. I don't know that passports can do that.
You
Anyway,
really got to hit the Kazuchika. That's the one that...
it's really good. It's
Yeah.
fun to say. Tom Brevoort, anyway, is taking over the X-Men books and has been working on them in the background for a little while. He's been teasing it in his Substack newsletter that I read religiously every Sunday and greatly enjoy.
As do
And
I.
if he's listening to this podcast, I want him to know that before I say anything else. But the announcement went out today about the various books that are going to be launching.
Can I just jump in
Yes.
and just say, if you had to pick one person that Tom DeFalco would have asked to do an X-Men book.
Tom DeFalco?
I'm sorry, did I say Tom DeFalco?
You did.
Wow.
I'm real curious where
First
this
of all-
hypothetical's going.
First of all, he picked Ron Frenz.
This and that, these and those. That's my John Byrne, Tom DeFalco.
So it's so many layers.
Uh-huh.
Tom Brevoort. I do not read Tom DeFalco's newsletter. Sorry.
Way off track here.
If you had to pick one person you thought that Tom Brevoort would pick to write an X book,
Mhm.
regardless of whatever else is on their plate,
Right.
who would be number one for you?
It definitely would have been Jed McKay, who is writing.
Definitely would have been
the
Jed
first
McKay.
to be released X-Men book. And this is the thing, and we'll get into this in a little bit more detail, but I want to set it up a little bit more. So the Krakoan Agent is ending, and Tom Brevoort's been very slim on details about what his X-Men books are going to be, preferring, rightly so, to do it as a larger launch event rather than just trickle out
information.
details in a Substack newsletter and then have that get the rumor mill going. So today was the day. They announced the first 3 books they're doing, and this is what's crucial, is that they are not launching a new X-Men book. They are launching 3 different and what they call equally important X-Men books. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and Exceptional X-Men. Now, this is just the start. These will be launching in 3 different months, July, August, September, as well as eventually, or maybe alongside, a whole bunch of other books, which we'll talk about once we get past this
So far, 6 other books.
initial announcement. So the initial announcement was dropped with a triptych image drawn by Ryan Stegman, which listeners of the podcast can kind of already expect where that is going to put my head. And it introduced the casts of the 3 books. I'm going to read you some stuff that was released by Marvel so that we're not...
paraphrasing or trying to remember exactly who is on what.
More that I don't want to give it a specific tone yet. I want to say, here's what Marvel said. This is so people who haven't seen it online, who haven't been exposed to the news, can have the context, and then we'll editorialize. First book out, July 10th, X-Men by Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman. From their new base in Alaska, the X-Men raise a flag of defiance. Join Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Temper, formerly Oya, Magic, and Juggernaut as they assemble against new forces battling for the destiny and philosophy of the mutant species. Mutant business is their business. The next book out is Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone and David Marquez, launching on August 7th. Making themselves at home in the Big Easy, the X-Men protect a world that hates and fears them. Join Rogue, Gambit, Nightcrawler, Jubilee, and Wolverine on explosive superhero adventures. Uncanny as ever, the X-Men are back to saving the day mutant style. And then the third and final launch book is Exceptional X-Men, Eve Ewing, Carmen Carnero on September 4th. Mutant Kind's 2 greatest teachers mold the next generation of X-Men. Kate Pryde has returned home to Chicago following the war with Orcus. Having stepped away from the world of mutantdom, she is nevertheless called back into action as she crosses paths with a trio of new young mutants, Bronze, Axo, and Melee, who clearly need training and guidance. Unfortunately for Kate, Emma Frost thinks so as well. Those are the 3 launch books. They also had a little bit of a graphic that not only refreshed the creative teams and the titles, but they also mentioned that the upcoming books launching some point summer 2024, include Phoenix, X-Factor, Storm, NYX, X-Force, and Wolverine. One of the things I kind of want to mention from the graphic, did you see this graphic? This one here?
Yes, I did.
The thing that was most illustrative to me is that I look at these logos and I go, these are very old classic logos.
Those are all the classic logos.
One of the big things that Jonathan Hickman did when he took over the X-Men books is that the design of them was very different. One of the things that Grant Morrison did when he took over New X-Men was change the logo and make and Marvel as a whole was making the design very different. This is not that. These are logos that I recognize from when I started reading comics in the 1980s and logos that were popular in the 1990s.
One of the things I think that the Hickman era of the Krakoan X books did really well, and that's mainly thanks to Tom Mueller, was not only did they all have a new logo design, the logos matched everything, but so did the cover treatment.
Yeah. The look of them was not traditional Marvel comics. It was X-Men comics. They were its own thing.
And you knew they all went together.
Right. Like, I look at this X-Force logo, and it's like, goddamn, that was on the cover of X-Force #1 in 1991.
Yeah.
That X-Factor logo...
now, remember, that is the updated X-Factor logo because it started with a different logo.
But that was the Walt Simonson run.
Yes.
It's the Storm logo is the Terry Dodson Storm comic. The Wolverine logo is like the 1980s, 1990s Wolverine logo. All of this is very like, even the X-Men logo is a real specific like 80s, 90s X-Men logo.
Yep.
They show off some of the costume designs for the characters in the Ryan Stegman piece, and the costumes are very traditional X-Men costumes. This isn't brand new designs or whatever. This is, I mean, there's like a new Cyclops costume, but it's very like blue and gold visor, hair. It's a traditional 1990s kind of Cyclopsy design.
It looks like Kate is still going to be Shadowcat because it's her Shadowcat outfit.
Sure, she's not a ninja no more.
Also, if I may ask, and this is a legitimate question, wasn't she from Highland Park, not Chicago?
I mean, I guess for a lot of people that's considered like Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, how many times has a wrestling show been out in Rosemont? They've been like, in Chicago, and it's like, boy, is Rosemont not Chicago. You can see it from Rosemont, I guess.
Hyde Park is considerably further away from Chicago than Rosemont.
So here's the crux of it for me. And I hate doing this because let me say right up front, one, I want these books to succeed. Two, I want these books to succeed specifically at Challengers because a lot of our ability to make a living depends on how well X-Men books sell. I think these X-Men books are going to be fine. A hallmark of a lot of Tom Brevoort stuff at the Marvel offices has been putting together books that are fine to very good, if never really that exciting. I enjoy the Jed MacKay Avengers book every month. I love the Ryan North Fantastic Four book. Both of those books sell fine. There's definitely fans of them. There's some, I would say, across the board enjoyment of them. There's not a lot of excitement about them, and that's kind of the problem. When you're launching something like this, a whole new line, and you're following up on what was maybe the biggest, most continuously successful reinvention of the X-Men line there maybe ever has been, I don't know if something where you're like, those are going to be okay is sufficient. But at the same time, I don't know what you do. The thing that I keep thinking about is Batman Hush and how that was seismic. Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, 12 months of Batman, the biggest every villain you've ever heard of.
Superman versus Batman.
Huge twists, stuff they still keep going back to in comics. And yet somebody had to follow that. And it was Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo and Dave Johnson and the whole 100 Bullets team. And I don't think anyone cared. It's never a story anyone's really talked about, but it's like someone's got to follow that. Like, I don't know that you get to do another seismic thing right after the last seismic thing. These things come along maybe once a decade. You're talking about like Jim Lee X-Men, Grant Morrison X-Men. Maybe if you squint, the Kieran Gillen, Jason Aaron stuff. And then it's nothing until Krakoa. Like, that's it. Like, and how much stuff was in between there? How many books came out? Major launches between those where it's like, they were fine.
Yeah, it is. One of the people that I talked to had said that they really think this is going to bring back lapsed readers.
Wow.
And when you say lapsed readers, I think you mean older readers.
Right, and that's the thing is, like, some of the stuff that's really interesting is how much, like, the suspicion a lot of people had when Tom Brevoort had said that he was kind of called into Dan Buckley's office and asked to take over the X-Men books, was this is because of the MCU. Like, they have an idea of what they want the X-Men movies to be, and that's going to get set up in the comics so that when people go see the movie, the comics are already reflecting that. And Tom Brevoort has said a couple times, like, he doesn't know what they're doing with the MCU stuff. That's not what this is. Like, he has to tell the MCU guys what he's doing with his books, not the other way around.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is that looking at this, it's like, oh, we all got it wrong. It's X-Men 97. Like, it's not the bold new vision of what the MCU is going to do with it, or whoever, from an FX show is going to be playing Cyclops. This is the nostalgia grab.
Sure.
Like, what's crazy to me, the suggestion that this is appealing to lapsed readers is, I know firsthand that the Krakoa stuff was appealing to lapsed fans. They already read all that stuff in the 90s, and they got sick of it, and they stopped reading X-Men comics altogether, and they came back because it was new and different. So the idea of following that with, like, the new and different is, I guess they're in New Orleans now. Like,
some of them.
Okay.
The others are in Alaska.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, like, the one of the three books that's the most genuinely different, like Exceptional X-Men, I'm just like, I don't know if people are going to care about, like, Kate Pryde and Emma Frost teaching 3 New Mutants. Like, okay, maybe.
No, it's as equally important as the other two.
And
to reiterate what Dal had already said, yeah, we want these books to be great, and we want them to sell great.
I'm going to read them. I'm probably going to enjoy them. I would say, without naming names but still being mean, I'm excited about 2/3 of the creators involved in the launch books. Like, genuinely excited about them.
Yeah.
1/3 I am not. But yeah, I hope, one, I hope everyone reading the X-Men books now keeps reading the new books. And 2, yeah, I'd love to see people come back and be like, oh my God, Gail Simone's doing an X-Men book? I had no idea. I put that on my subscription list. I'd love for that. Absolutely.
Now, I
I'm not
assume
confident that's
there's
gonna
no easy way for us to copy anything over, nor would we.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, at this point, I wouldn't. It's such a clean break as far as, like, a whole different office is editing them.
Right, and the titles don't line up.
No, what would you... I mean, you could copy over to X-Men, but, like, why? Like, I would feel like a ton of people would tell us, please don't do that, and it would be hard not to with the way the system works.
Sure.
We'd have to basically keep a separate list just to delete. So it's like, let's start from scratch. Like, you tell us what you want. Those are the books you get.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Which is honestly always my intention now, is like, I have to kind of be talked into the idea of, like, copying people over, because it's like, no, do it yourself. Like, you got to learn to do it yourself. Y'all got to learn how the system works, or the system isn't working.
Oftentimes, it's not a situation of them not knowing how the system works. It's just not knowing what books come out.
Sure.
No matter how much we talk about a book or promote a book or post about it on social media or have it on the front counter or
multiple emails.
Any of those things. Yeah. I will tell you this, X-Men related. I am too old to have watched the X-Men 97 cartoon.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's not like, you wouldn't watch cartoons when you were in 1997. You weren't young enough for it to be formative for you.
Sure. My X-Men, when I started reading X-Men, it was
prior to the X-Men.
Claremont. It was Claremont writing it, and it was Cockrum and then Byrne. Like, George and I started in, like, the one teens.
Okay.
The introduction to Alpha Flight, all that stuff. So,
sure.
My X-Men, knowing who they were before that,
right? But
buying it monthly was the new X-Men.
Sure. The all new, all different X-Men.
Correct. Yeah, I guess new X-Men would be Grant Morrison, technically. But yes. I meant,
I knew
in that time period. So, that's the team that I think of, which is why I think Uncanny X-Men is the team that most resembles that in this new lineup.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's interesting to me that the casts are relatively small. And I mean, maybe more Uncanny X-Men and less X-Men. But Uncanny X-Men's like 5 characters, which is like, wow, that's basically nothing.
But, so anyway,
X-Men 97.
Just because of all the excitement for the new X-Men cartoon, I put on the first episode of X-Men 97, the original one.
Sure, so not 97, it was like X-Men, whatever the other one was called.
Whatever the animated one was.
Was that also 97?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't called X-Men 97, it was X-Men.
Just X-Men. X-Men, the animated series.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same one, right? Like, they just retroactively have called it 97 now because
basically, like, when they did the teaser for X-Men 97, it included, like, scenes from the last episode of the X-Men, the animated series, just to give you some idea of, here's where we left it, and now here's where we're going to go.
So I watched the first episode. That's a lie. I watched part of the first episode. Boy, did I not like it.
Yeah, I had rewatched it recently. A friend had put it on, and I'd sort of watched it and thought, this is terrible.
But it's such a hallmark. It's such a
It is.
important event for getting people into comics, and for that,
I
we
spent
love
a lot
it.
of time watching it when I was a younger fan. I was probably, what was it, 97? God, yeah. I mean,
You were not 97.
I was not 97? What?
You weren't 97 years old.
I mean, I felt it. I still feel it. No, so it definitely has nostalgia has a lot to do with how people view that series. I don't think now it would be considered, a very well animated series. It's like looking at a lot of 1980s and 1990s cartoons. Like they took a lot of shortcuts and they had a lot of limitations and they had a lot of work they had to do and not a lot of time or animators to do it. So it looks a certain way and it's kind of corny.
I'm sorry. Are you talking about the animated trailer for the new X-Men line?
Oh no, I'll get to that. But what was great about it, and I think what continues to be great about it, is how much it was trying to bring across what the X-Men comics were like at the time. And I mean, the job that cartoon did as far as like priming an entire generation of kids to go read X-Men comics cannot be understated.
Correct.
Like, that, in the same way that Batman the Animated Series introduced an entire generation of fans to the idea of Batman as a character so they could go read Batman comic books, like, huge, because it wasn't an alteration. It wasn't like Spider-Man, but he doesn't really wear the costume and he only like climbs a building and none of the villains from the comics are in it, like the live action show. This was the comic book, basically, slimmed down a little bit, but the characters from the book were there. It was Rogue and Storm and Wolverine and Cyclops and Jean Grey and Beast, and all of those characters were in the monthly comic. You go watch the cartoon, you read the comic, it's like the same thing. But yeah, like it's interesting to look at the X-Men 97 trailer and see like, oh, this is computer animated now, so it actually looks really, really good compared to how it looked in the 1990s where it was not computer animated.
Well, regardless, I, again, have nothing but the highest of hopes for the sales of these books.
Yeah, I can't pretend that I'm personally excited about them. I'm interested in a few of the books, and I want them to be great, and I plan on reading each of the books as they come out and hoping I'll find something in there that I can pitch to people and be excited about and be enthusiastic about. As much as this week we were enthusiastic about Batman Dylan Dog and Helena Windhorn and I Heart Skullcrusher. Like, I want to feel that way about these X-Men books too. Sure.
How gratifying was it today to watch online orders roll in when the books went up for sale?
Batman Dylan Dog.
Batman Dylan Dog, right? Yeah. We always have the new This Week books are available to buy on the website Thursdays at noon, and to watch the Batman Dylan Dog sales come in.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, that's a thing that we want to be able to do all the time.
Sure.
But it really has to be something we can get behind.
Yeah, it literally can't be every week as much as it probably should be for our business. Like, I don't want it to just be perfunctory. I don't want it to be a thing where, like, this is the book we're hard selling you this week.
If it is every week, then it's disingenuous.
Yeah.
But I mean, if there's 3 books in a week that we love, there'll be 3 books in a week we love.
Yeah, and honestly, there's going to be next week too. Man's Best #1 comes out, and I plan on reminding people Man's Best is really good. Check it out.
I read some books today that we'll talk about later in the episode. That there's some stuff I'm going to recommend heavily. And in 2 weeks, Feral #1 is out.
Yep.
So we'll be doing that one again.
Sure. Yeah, there's plenty of books that we ordered really high on over the next few weeks because they're just genuinely good, and we want people to check out good new stuff. As far as this X-Men stuff goes, there's a floor for X-Men comics nowadays that I think this will clear. I don't think anything's going to... nothing I looked at was like, that is not going to work, as I have with recent Ultimate teases. But what I saw was stuff where I'm like, that feels very safe. It all feels like a very safe way to do X-Men comics. And, I would prefer if they took more big swings, but I get that big swings can't be just generated. You can't just make big swings happen. It's a right time, right place thing. Some creators got to have an idea. Some editorial office has to, feel like they've got nothing to lose. And that's not the situation right now. I don't know if they had anybody that came in with like a ground zero rebuild of the X-Men franchise, so much as they wanted to maybe do something that people watching the X-Men 97 cartoon or just wanted comfort food X-Men books. Here you go. This is the one that's got Wolverine in it. This is the one with Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde. This is the one with Cyclops and Magneto. Like, great. Like, sure, okay. And there's a Storm comic, and there's a Wolverine
but
comic.
Magneto in Professor Xavier's chair.
Sure. Maybe he's just tired and sitting down a lot now.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, how old is he now? He's almost 100 years old, right? Maybe he is 100 years old.
Didn't Ryan Stegman design that Wolverine costume?
Maybe. I don't remember. I
We're
don't
looking
like that
at
X-Men
the
costume at all.
the Wolverine costume from the start of the Charles Soule run, right? Before he died and came back.
No, it wasn't Charles Soule. It was Paul Cornell.
Oh, okay.
So pre-Hot Claws.
Definitely pre-Hot Claws, yeah.
But yeah, I was buying the Kotobukiya X-Men statues that were designed by Eddie Granoff, and they're a snapshot of a very specific era of the X-Men. Like, it's cool because it's got the magic costume that Chris Bachalo designed, as well as the
Cyclops.
What was the name of that? Was he Uncanny X-Men? Was that what his book was called? It was when Bendis was writing it was All New X-Men was the Bendis Stuart Immonen book, and then this Uncanny X-Men was the Bendis Bachalo book, like the X-Men Revolutionary book. So it's got like that design for like Emma Frost, Magneto, Cyclops, Magic. But then like the Rogue costume is like the green X-Men Legacy, Brian Wood, Olivier Coipel Rogue costume. And then the Wolverine is this very not good jumpsuit that I can't remember who designed.
With the weird padding. I think it was Ryan Stegman.
It's bad. It's a real bad costume, but they didn't do a different design, and then they stopped doing that line altogether. So that's the Wolverine I have.
Proudly.
So anyway, these X-Men books, they start launching in July. There will be previews, I think, of some sort inside the Free Comic Book Day Blood Hunt / X-Men comic book. So if you are planning on stopping by a comic shop for Free Comic Book Day, definitely grab that one if you're an X-Men fan. I'm sure we'll talk more about these books as more details get announced about the other titles that are going to be in the line. And certainly as soon as we get a chance to read them, we'll let you know what we think. I'm sorry, I guess, in general, that we can't be as positive as everyone else is on these books. I'm glad people are excited about it. I'd love nothing more, as always, than to be stunned by how receptive people are to these comic books.
Weren't you just saying the other day that you feel that they already have a ceiling? Like, you don't expect they're going to be able to sell better than...
Kind of. I mean, this gets back to what we were talking about as far as, like, this being for lapsed fans. And it's like, no, the Krakoa stuff was the stuff for lapsed fans, and they're already reading it or stopped. I don't know that they come back for, the Gail Simone, Jed MacKay, Eve Ewing X-Men stuff. I think it's what our sales are going to be very quickly for the Tom Brevoort X-Men stuff is a percentage of what we're selling for corresponding Krakoa Age comics. I'd love it if it went the other way. I'd love it if it was multiples of what we were selling for the Krakoa Age books, but I don't see that happening.
The real test is going to be the number 2s.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, just once you're at the end of the year, once everything is launched and the line isn't, the hot new thing, but the X-Men comics, then we'll see where things land. I hope high. I hope it's high numbers. I hope everyone picks it up and is like, wow, this is a team that knows what they're doing. They know what story they want to tell. It's great. And I mean, as always, like, it's a Marvel book. So, like, while they're launching with Ryan Stegman and David Marquez and Carmen Carnero, let's see what 2025 looks like. Let's see what the teams look like then. Anyway, I'm sorry to be so negative or to be at least so pessimistic about this, but
yeah, it's not negative. It's just it's
pessimistic,
but also still hopeful.
Yeah, I want it to be a success because I want all these things to be a success because my livelihood depends on them being a success. I make no money if it's a failure. I don't want it to fail.
Okay, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Diamond's new shipping rates.
Yes.
And I know they technically haven't started yet. They start in the middle of April, right?
Yep.
But it's a flat fee and then a percentage of retail and things. Well, Marvel likes to print giveaway books. We get the monthly Marvel catalog.
Yeah.
But also this week, there was the Blood Hunt Diaries.
Yes.
Which is a preview of all the Blood Hunt stuff, including the checklist of all 57 parts of the crossover,
Seems like a lot.
interviews with the creators. And they also recently did what they call a Marvel Must-Haves, which is a single-issue comic that's a reprint of 3 number ones.
Yeah, I mean, you say single issue, but it's a triple size book.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a giveaway book, but it had Spider-Man, Deadpool number 1.
Yep.
It had
Ms. Marvel,
Ms. Marvel
Ms. Marvel New Mutant number 1.
and then can't remember the third. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
So
Immortal Thor, but not number 1.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
And that was a book that they gave away. And we get all of our Marvel books from Penguin Random House.
Right.
However, we got one bundle of these must-haves from Diamond.
Yes.
And I don't know if every account got them.
I think
or...
every account got them.
Okay, because we ordered them through PRH.
Because that's also happened when Marvel does these like surprise variants as like a thank you to stores. Like we get them from Penguin Random House, who's our supplier for Marvel stuff. But we also have an active account with Diamond, so we get it from Diamond too.
Some retailers legit upset they didn't get 2 Spawn 350 signed copies.
Oh my god.
Because they ordered 25 from each Lunar and Diamond.
Sorry, couldn't game the system.
Right. Anyway, so we got one bundle of the Marvel must-haves from Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got, as is customary, a shipping rebate for those.
Yeah, anytime you pay shipping and there's promo stuff that you did not order in there, they're kind of obligated to give you a refund for it. Because it's just, I mean, you ended up paying for something you did not order, so they should give you a freight rebate for it.
Now, I don't recall how many single copies came in that bundle.
Probably 20 or 25.
Probably 25, not 50. It's very thick.
Yeah, I didn't unpack any of those, so I don't know.
It was a hefty bundle, and it was at least a quarter of a inner box.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit less.
Thick, so yeah, 20, 25, somewhere there.
Well, we got a shipping rate for them, and if it is in any way an indication of what kind of shipping fees we'll be getting, and I joked that they did this based off of cover price, which is what they will do going forward. And since this was free, they didn't have to rebate it.
No.
So according to Diamond, that bundle by itself, and keep in mind, this is a company that will send you 1 pop vinyl in an inner box. Mm-hmm. What do we get this week? Oh yeah, a thing that I ordered, which I will not say out loud what it is because it is in fact a gift for somebody, but it was no bigger than the size of this notebook, and it was in 1 box by itself. And I guarantee you, if I look that up, that's going to be like an $8 shipping box or something.
Yeah, one of the things we've talked about before, and why I'm so glad, that the upcoming freight calculations aren't based on number of boxes; they're based on overall like value of products. Is because the way Diamond packs stuff is that they will pack some stuff as what they call a replenishment order, where like if you reorder graphic novels or something, they will put that together and then they will ship it to where your new shipments come from, and then everything will go out together. But the thing is, replenishment orders can also include items ordered on new to order, which is almost all of our like merchandise, toys, non-comic items. So basically, anytime we order like any pop vinyls or something, those are packed separately than everything else. They could be packed in multiple boxes separately from everything else.
And also, the weight of this object that I got is about the weight of this notebook as well.
Couple ounces?
Yeah, less than a pound. Definitely significantly less than the weight of a bundle of Marvel must-haves. So anyway, the long story short, actually not short, just ended.
Long story over.
The shipping rebate that we got from Diamond for that bundle of must-haves, 40 cents.
Wow. Sweet
40
deal.
cents. Gosh, I'm so interested in how they calculated that. I'll never know,
Never know.
but I was very interested to find it out. Also, in this week's Diamond order, we received a full invoice and a returns, not an affidavit return, the customized damage return form for a different store.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah, not our store. Definitely, and I didn't say it this way, but you should hear store in quotes because it's not physical brick and mortar store.
Right.
It's just someone with a Diamond account, though.
It's like an online variant cover vendor.
Yeah. So we got their invoice for the week, but more telling was we got their customized damage return form. So this talks about the books that they called as damages and want returned. Now, damages are a part of the game. I was talking to Josh Crowley from Westfield. He had a Hellboy book that came just destroyed this week. We had a special order of a Symbiote Spider-Man 2099 #1
Greg Land
that was ordered just for a customer, and it was packed separately in a PRH T-fold, which is not your customary T-fold. It's a little different of a shape.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how they usually send out like a stack of single comics.
Sure. And it came like just mangled.
Like basically, if you took the T-fold, which is basically just corrugated cardboard folded around a comic book, and you held it up like you were holding up like a thing of boards for a karate person to break.
For Ryan Gosling as Ken to karate chop through while he's singing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars.
Yeah, this is that, but if the hand didn't go all the way through. And it just bent the thing.
But the pressure from the person
into
holding it folded it around.
Into a very sharp angle. And
Yeah.
when UPS handed it to me, when I was going through the pile of stuff, I immediately went, oh, this is going to be damaged. And sure enough, it was pretty damaged. Which means that this book that came like a day late that a customer was waiting for, that we had to go like, it's coming
Who
in
was
tomorrow.
going to just when he thought it was coming in, should I just come back tomorrow?
Yeah.
No, wait.
So now that person, if they called today, like we had said you probably should, just to make sure it's there, got told, like, you can have the damaged one, but we ordered another one for you. I don't know when it's coming in. Like, it's probably going to be another few days.
So the point
I
is,
don't expect we'll get it until, like, next Monday or Tuesday.
damages happen regularly.
Yeah.
And more often than not, we have to make the decision of, is this sellable or isn't it?
Right.
And I think that people listening, especially other retailers, may be surprised at how often we just say, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Put
Like,
it out. It's fine.
The main difference is this going to go on the shelf or is this a special order? Like, this one for this customer, I mean, it was damaged in a way where I couldn't put it on the shelf, period. But if it's a book that's specifically for a customer, they've ordered it, and I look at it and I think this is bad, I'm not going to roll the dice on it. I'm going to be like, we have to report this as a damage. We have to get them a replacement. If it goes on the shelf, it's like someone can pick it up and decide if it's worth it or not. You know, if I think the damage is minor or insignificant, maybe someone picking up that copy of, you know, Detective Comics isn't going to care. And it's like, I just want to read it. I don't care if the corners are perfectly square, you know, whatever.
And there's shipments where an entire run of a book is all spine dented in the same spot.
Sure.
And we just say, fine, and put it out.
Yeah. And the thing is, most people probably don't care, but there is clearly a threshold where it's like, this book looks gross. This is not appropriate. This is not acceptable.
So we're not obviously going to name names, but the quantities of returns, of reported, not returns, of reported damages from this account, and the sheer number of variant covers per title, like this is for a specific Marvel Arachnid-based book, and they reported 5 of the main cover, 4 of this variant, 5 of this variant, 3 of this variant, and it's all, it makes me question the validity of the claim.
I think the thing I want to add for context is that since we got to see the
actual invoice,
an actual invoice, not for the same products, we could kind of see like, okay, what's being asked to be destroyed here because these were listed as damaged. This is probably everything they ordered for those items. Like, this is not 5 out of like 50 copies. This is like 5 out of the 5 they ordered. So it very much seems like a situation where they were maybe being a little finicky on condition because these are probably going to be flipped online, slabbed, whatever. And I don't have a lot of patience for stores that are like, well, this isn't going to grade out at a 9.8, so it's unacceptable. It's like, that's not how the world works, you know? Like, there's a difference between a readable and an unreadable copy, and I think maybe that's all we need to think about as a store.
Yeah.
Like, if you're concerned that it's not near mint, it got shipped from a warehouse, man. Like, if you want them perfect, go pick them up.
We have had, let's just say, discussions with people, not regulars, but people who were unhappy with copies on a shelf. It's like, then don't buy it.
Yeah, again,
I
don't feel like it is unsellable, I'm going to put it on the shelf, and you as the customer can make the decision for yourself. If you decide it's not worth your money, got it. Not going to twist your arm, not going to talk you into it.
I mean, more often than not, I'll buy the dented copy if it's a book that I buy because I don't care. And you know what? It doesn't affect the story.
Right.
I get it, and I understand people want things in better condition, but it's not like we are damaging these books ourselves and just saying, we don't care.
Right.
Like, that's the way we got them. We can't guarantee they're going to be any better. Whenever it's a special order and it's beaten up, and somebody will say, well, if we think it's okay and they want to pass on it and say, can you reorder it? We'll say, no, because we can't guarantee this won't happen again.
Yeah, there's a term that gets used in comics, and it's called minor shelfware. Minor shelfware basically means it was on a shelf. It was on a rack. Other books were
Most
against it.
comic
People
shelves
picked it up
are
and put
not
it down.
flat on the
Whatever.
bottom.
Like, just the idea of it's considered insignificant and also kind of just part of a physical object existing in the world. That's it. Like, I'll spoil it for people who are listening who are aghast that we would be so unconcerned with the condition of comics. Your comics at your local comic shop are not being handled by people in surgical gloves, wearing masks so their breath doesn't interact with the pigment. This stuff is getting shuffled through and moved as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible while trying to take care of it, but not necessarily like treating it like a baby coming out of the womb. Like, that's not what's happening.
We legitimately have heard stories, luckily not anything we've dealt with, but of finicky customers from other stores who need to know exactly who the person is that's checking in their books, what time they're being done. Sometimes they want to be there to watch it happen. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We would not stand for that. Can't be helped. But it's still sometimes disheartening to think that somebody is like, well, I can't slab this book, so I mean, I won't get the grade that I want for it, so it has to be considered a damage.
We have sold books on eBay, and I get dumb questions all the time. But the dumbest one that I get, the one that most makes me want to...
Is it your favorite question?
No, it's not that
okay.
one. This one I get less frequently than that, but this is the one that makes me more angry than anything else, and the closest I get to just being really snotty with somebody via eBay message. And it's the... Is this what do you think this is going to grade out at? Is this going to grade out at a 9.6 or better? And sometimes I'll get the sob story of like, because I really love this book and I'm really excited about it and I really want it to be a high grade book. What do you think it's going to grade out at? And it's like, I am not the CGC.
Higher than 0.0.
My mom lives in Sarasota, but she's not the CGC either. They are a separate company. I don't have any association with them.
Is that where they're from in Sarasota?
I think they are.
Okay. Otherwise, that's a weird reference.
I can't tell you what it's going to grade out at, and I'm sure as shit not going to guarantee what it's going to grade out at. If you want to buy the book and you want to roll the dice, that's what it's like getting a comic graded. You don't know.
So glad we don't grade books.
Did you see that one of the things, because they're a sponsor for Free Comic Book Day, is you can have a little CGC display?
Yeah.
With like a slabbed Free Comic Book Day comic and like some other giveaways.
Yes, I did see that. Yes, we're going to have one.
Oh, Patrick. Why don't we talk about anything anymore?
What? It's like a Coke cooler.
That's the thing. If it's a Coke cooler, you don't have to ask me. You don't have to talk to me about that. It's a Coke cooler. It's a gimme.
Man, you're really going to hate the fact that you have to wear a suit made out of slabs.
Is it like a foam costume, or is it like an actual like lucite slab that I can't breathe in?
Oh, it goes over what you're wearing. Like, you're not sealed inside of it.
Okay, it's got like a face cutout.
It's like a jacket made out of them. You put it over your clothes.
A jacket made of slabs?
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
You're strong?
I'll get stronger, I guess, by wearing a suit made out of slabs. I'm going to be in that Magneto chair real soon.
You know how for Molly King's Pedal Power, BBC Radio 1 Children in Need charity event from this week, Greg was taunting Matt Edmondson with never airing his rap version of Molly's song
Yeah.
unless they got to a certain amount.
Right.
The tables got turned,
Oh no.
and Matt,
Well, they are DJs. They do love turning tables.
they do indeed. If they got to $400,000 at the start of a certain day, thank you, pounds. Greg would have to ride behind Molly on Matt's scooter because Matt rides one of those little kid like push scooters.
Oh wow.
And it's like
like
know,
not
a tiny.
not electric.
No. Just
it's
a
foot powered.
yeah. And Matt is, as you saw, like a foot shorter than Greg.
Yeah, he's a little boy.
Yeah. Oh, Greg had to do it.
Oh no.
Yeah, and
For how long?
I don't like. He couldn't keep up with her because she's pedaling.
Yeah, of course.
But he still had to do it, and it was pouring. So he's in his his waterproof jacket and his helmet
poncho, yeah.
and his glasses, and he was so mad.
Sure.
And also, Greg's wife has a specific hatred of scooters and people on scooters.
Oh no. He'll never be sexy to his
It
wife
was
ever again.
so mean and funny.
Mm,
Yeah, man, it was. I mean, you could just see Greg was fuming,
sure.
and Matt's riding along in the comfy van
Yes.
with the heat on and
With the two heaters that he's
yeah,
collapsed
heating
on.
pads under his back. Yeah, man, such good radio content this week.
Even though Jordan North is missing out on it.
Couple weeks, he starts at Capital Breakfast, and I hope it does well
Capital
for him.
Breakfast, Jordan speaking.
Capital Breakfast. All right, we're going to jump right into a couple of books that I read this week.
Okay.
I don't know if you read them or not. I did forward you one of them.
If it's Transformers 7, I did.
I read it too.
Yeah, I liked it.
You know what? I think George Corona's art is excellent for that book.
I think he's going to be great.
I think that it is...
There's a fight sequence in there that is on par with the stuff that Dan was doing.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to be disappointed at all.
I
And 7 does not let up. Boy, if you thought they were going to take a break after issue 6, they are not taking a break.
was surprised at the body count,
Uh-huh.
if I can say that.
Woo!
I really
main
like...
characters, because like here, so I'll take a quick digression.
Sure.
One of the things that's really fun about Dan as a Transformers creator is that he's not generally aware of the Transformers fandom and what they want. So he can kind of approach this just as a guy doing a comic book who's trying to tell a story and using the characters he wants to use in the way he wants to use them. But there's people who get knocked off in like the first couple of pages of issue 7 that I'm like, oh God, the fans are going to be so angry about this because they want to see that character come back and have stories, and you probably just killed them. Oh no.
I was impressed with the detail and the art in those scenes
It's great.
because it's not as if, somebody in the real world gets shot with a bullet and they're dead. When it's a machine,
You got to draw like gears and stuff
there's
coming out of their heads.
core components,
Uh-huh.
and it was, I thought the art was excellent. And look, so far I've read Transformers 1, Transformers 6,
Mhm.
and I dipped into 7 because I'm like, well, let's see how this new guy
Right.
was. And I thought, like, not missing a beat.
No, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I really liked issue 7, and I know there's a chance that Dan doesn't stick around writing it past issue 12, but I think that's what people are talking about. There's been plenty of rumors about it.
What? I didn't
I
say
don't.
anything.
I don't know anything.
I don't know why you talked about that.
I'm just saying, like, I don't have any inside information. I don't work at Skybound. I don't know who's doing what. But people have read between the lines that stuff that Dan has written on his newsletters that he might not be sticking around past issue 12. I hope he does. I think he's great at this. I hope he keeps doing covers and writing it indefinitely. But like the art alone makes the book kind of in good hands.
Oh, for sure. There's a new publisher called Magma Comics. Comics with an X.
Yeah, we started ordering books from them because they have really good returnability plans.
Yeah, and they are basically mostly former IDW people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I read Silicon Bandits #1.
Yeah, that one looks pretty good because it's Dalibor Talajak and I don't remember.
Jason
who it
Starr.
is. Yeah, so
It
it's
is
the team that did
Casual Flame.
Casual Flame, which is really
Yeah, so I didn't realize that at the time. The PDF is not a good resolution, and it was tough to read.
good. Oh, okay.
But it's a good story that kind of fits in the vein of Red Light right
Okay.
now. It is
That's cool.
AI creation of androids for the future
Okay.
and what happens to the people that create them
Mhm.
if they're no longer needed. And it's ultimately going to be a heist book,
Mhm.
but I read it because it was that team, because it was Jason
Yeah,
Starr.
I
and-
mean
and-
that's
yeah.
when I saw that in the email, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. So I was very pleased with it. I think it's good.
Excellent. I mean, we were going to order it anyway, so I'll definitely give it a read when it comes in.
Okay, that's good because we had a talk. You say we never talked. We talked about this before, and the verdict was passing on.
Oh yeah, I did not give a shit at all.
Yeah.
But then they made it returnable, and now I give a shit. I mean, that's
They listened to you, Dad.
that's the simple calculus. Like, I'll be right up front. Like, there's plenty of books where if it's non-returnable, I'm going to be very aggressive in not ordering stuff.
So there's a catch with their plans because they've got an A cover,
Yeah.
a B cover, and an incentive cover.
Right.
To earn the incentive cover,
Mhm.
only orders for the B cover count.
Which is good because I don't care about the incentive cover.
Right, but
All
also
I care about
I
is
like
returnability on A. So it's
I like that they're
done.
protecting themselves in that regard.
Yeah, and I don't mind when companies do that. You and I had talked about earlier this week that the FOC for the first wave of Ghost Machine #1s is coming up. It was actually this past Sunday, and it was the FOC, the final order cutoff for Redcoat #1, Rook #1, and Geiger #1. And what Ghost Machine did was they made cover A fully returnable, but if you order any of the variants, cover A is no longer returnable. And like, I get it because they had 1 in 500 and 1 in 1,000 variants that are not cheap for them to do. The 1 in 500 was like a Zoom call that you get with somebody. And the 1 in 1,000 was a custom sketch cover done by the interior artist of whatever book you qualified for. Which means, Brian Hitch is going to have to do a bunch of cover sketches for Redcoat #1. So the last thing
He's just going to be doing panels of Superman Lex Luthor
It's
#2.
literally just going to be a red coat. He's going to draw a coat and color it red and call it a day. But obviously what Ghost Machine doesn't want to do is, have Brian Hitch doing these variants for stores that are going to be returning 998 copies of Redcoat #1. That's not fair.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's cool to do a thing where like you can either have returnability or incentives, because that means stores can pick what they want to do. If you're a store that does incentives, great. You probably don't care about returnability unless you're trying to game the system. So go ahead and get your incentives and sell them at a premium and, sell your 1 in 1,000 custom sketch Redcoat #1 for like $1,500 or whatever. Great, fine. I will be the store over here ordering 50 copies of Redcoat #1 and having them be returnable. So I have a chance of like having extra copies on the shelf when I probably would not have ordered 50 copies of Redcoat #1. That's win-win. I think it's the best way to do it. So I don't mind Magma doing a thing where it's like, here's incentives, or you can have returnability. Let retailers choose what sales incentive they want to go with.
Yeah, love it. Big fan.
Yeah, I don't think it's rude to suggest that you need to have like returnability and I want to qualify for incentives while I do it. Like, that's cake and eating it too. Don't do that. Like, share the risk.
I want to eat cake.
I do too. You can hear my stomach rumbling. It's dinner time.
Also, I read Blood Brothers' Mother from Story.
Not the Sisters Brothers, which was a Western with Joaquin Phoenix. And I'll stop here.
This is a Western.
I know.
By Brian
But
Azzarello
it's not the Sisters Brothers.
and Eduardo Risso. I mean, I only read the first issue. There may be sisters in it.
Maybe. Saving that for this.
I don't even know. Like, there's brothers in this.
Mm-hmm. How was it?
Also, I read Uncanny Valley #1.
Yeah, I did too.
That book is real fun.
It's real fun. It's got a real good hook.
It really does. It's hard to even talk about without giving too much away.
It's a real typical Boom book where it's like, the premise is really good, but the more of it I tell you, the less you're getting out of the story.
Yeah.
The more I'm robbing you of the
It's like
experience of
trying
getting
to
there.
describe Displaced.
Yes.
Yeah, Uncanny Valley.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, think a mix between Looney Tunes and the Terminator.
Okay. I would have accepted a Roger Rabbit reference in there at some point.
Yeah, Roger Rabbit. You can have that too.
Yeah.
Let's go Roger Rabbit.
Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
It's Tony Fleeks who writes it, and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really fun first issue.
Yeah.
I think it's another winner from that company.
And another winner from him.
Yeah.
Like Feral #1.
Yeah, and Local Man. You like Local Man?
I do, and there's the Local Man specials out the same week as Feral #1, so it's a double.
Ooh.
A double. I never know, and I've never. He's such a good guy.
Mhm.
Never met him in person, but he's done stuff for us. We did that book plate.
Mhm.
He sends us previews and stuff. I never know if his last name is Fleece or Fleeks.
It's on Fleeks. Yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna say Fleeks.
You just wanted to make that reference.
I did. It was sitting right there.
Well, good job. You did it.
Thank you,
Thanks
Patrick.
for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.